Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video. Urban farming challenges. I'm into my third year of having my own garden, and over time I have learned how to overcome some of the challenges I've faced. And I figured I'd share that with you guys. If anyone who lives in the urban setting and you're looking into starting your own garden, hopefully these tips and information will assist you in some of the things that you may face or may be facing right now. One of the first challenges I faced when I started gardening was the issue of water. I've always been concerned about drought. We've had for the past 2 years, and even current, we've had extreme heat. Maybe not as extreme as some places. I know California, they had a drought. Um, Georgia has been prone to getting droughts here and there. Here in South Carolina, it doesn't really we don't really get droughts, but we'll have bouts of extreme weather. So we'll have extreme heat one day, so maybe about 105 degrees, and then it'll just be raining. Just constant rain, and then it'll be more heat and 15 minutes of rain, and things like that. So one of the things I was always concerned about was if I do get water off tap for my plants, but I've always wanted to have a backup system in case a drought were to occur. And I know water shortages or water rationing does occur during droughts. So what I did was I started collecting rainwater. Start leaving buckets out. If I was home and it started to rain, I quickly grab a 5-gallon bucket, place it where I know a lot of water is gonna run into it, and I store it all in a larger container. And that way, I at least have some water set aside for my plants should the heat get too extreme. So I don't want my plants to get cooked. Along with water, along with having adequate water, is also keeping a water schedule. Some plants, they need more water than others. I know I would sometimes get up around 7 in the morning, or get home because I did have a job where I worked real late. I come home and I water my plants, and then just snooze before I go to my other job. And I wanted to making sure that my water, the soil stayed moist. Also that I didn't make sure I didn't flood the soil with too much water, because that can also happen. I know corn, because I'm so into growing corn. I had to keep planting. I had to keep watering the plants in the morning, and then watering again when it got real dark outside. But then when the weather got real high, I had to start watering them 3 times a day. What's funny is there be days where I worked a few hours, come home, and then I have to work work multiple shifts. And so as soon as I get home, I gotta figure out, do I need to water my plants now? Because it's dark and it's cool outside. Maybe the condensation in the morning will help with the watering. But I try to look at what plants need more water than the most. So cucumber plants need a lot of water. Corn needs a lot of water. Pepper plants, they tend to do. They can use. It helps if they have have a good amount of water, but they don't need to be drenched or anything like that. So that was one of the things I had to. One of the challenges I had to overcome this year and in the previous years. Another thing is space. I know a lot of people may get discouraged from growing plants if they live in an urban area because they don't have enough space. One of the things I learned to do was learn how to do container gardening, which is that's primarily what I do, growing my plants in containers. If you have a space where you can actually just put some herbs in the windowsill, or have or even better, a 5-gallon bucket that has a drain at the bottom. And you can and if you're able to place it somewhere in your house where whatever you're planting is going to get adequate sun, that's good. That's a good start. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible to grow plants in the city. It's just you just have to make do with what you have. Another issue I ran into was pest control. I had some. One of the issues I ran into over the past 2 years was when I grew corn. I would grow them in the ground, but the ground that I was growing them in was actually separated by railroad ties. And I believe termites at the right when the soil got the right temperature, or during the right time of year, they would come out and they would eat at the base of the corn stalk and just hollow it out, and then the corn would just fall over and die. So what I had to overcome that, I planted corn in containers, and that's worked out pretty well. What I hope to do next year is actually instead of having 8 or 9 corn plants in one container, have four corn plants in one 18-gallon container, but then get more containers, because I do have the space. I do have the space where I can expand out across the front of the house, but hopefully be able to increase my yield that way, and as well as protect them against pests. I've also had issues with slugs eating my plants, but they haven't done enough damage to where I had to take immediate action. But there is one thing I learned, that if you worry about like slugs getting into if you have slugs getting into your plants right now, what you can do is take copper wire and wrap it around the container that you have your plants in. And what happens when the slugs come in contact with copper, it shocks them. So that's one good thing to do. I had someone tell me that I can also put like a little container full of some beer. The slugs will be attracted to it, and they'll get in to drink it and drown. So that's another good way of managing pests. You can also manage pests by growing plants that attract predators to pests. So yeah, I planted marigolds and and dill. Those are supposed to help attract certain flies or ladybugs, and they'll eat certain predatory pests that may wreak havoc upon your plants. So those are some options. If pest control is an issue, some things I've learned. Another thing is sunlight. I've had to overcome not having enough sunlight for some of my plants, and some even having too much sunlight to where it would scorch the plant. So I had to place plants in certain areas. I had to keep moving them around, make sure they got enough sunlight. Where I have my plants set up is they're set in the north section of the house, and as the sun rises in the east, the backyard gets the most sunlight. So it takes a while for the front of the house to actually get enough sunlight. So around say around 2 or 3 o'clock on the west side of the house, the northwest side, that's where sun begins to come in. And I had to place certain plants, and like I said, in certain spots where I know they'll get enough sunlight. I may have to adjust my strategy for cucumber plants, because I have one cucumber plant that's producing two cucumbers. My second time trying this, but it's getting scorched. So that's a lesson I have to take with me for God willing, in next year, where I'll make another attempt to plant cucumbers. Let's see. Another challenge I faced was feeding my plants. You want to make sure you have good soil, good compost, but having the right plant food fertilizer is important. That way you'll maintain your plants, maintain the nutrition of your plants. I used to use Miracle-Gro, and which I think I've done. I still did it this year, but I think I've only used it maybe 3 or 4 times during this growing season since spring. And the rest of the time, as I did a video before, my vermicompost pile, I've been using worm tea. So basically, all the worm waste all the worm castings that will be inside the container, just pour water on top of it, and let it drip down like coffee, and in kind of a gross sort of way. It was like coffee or tea, and I used that liquid, and I fed my plants with it maybe once every 2 weeks. Sometimes I would cut it with half tea, half water, and I feed my plants with that. With the corn, I tend to go straight 100% worm tea, but I have cut back recently, and it's helped out. It's helped keep my plants healthy. I still have some things I want to some kinks I need to work out with some of the techniques I have, but so far, they're doing well. I hope to do a update video on my garden. So far, they are starting to have pepper plants that are starting to produce peppers, and I want to show just some of the things that have been going on. Still facing some new challenges I'm trying to overcome, but hopefully I'll be able to overcome those challenges in due time. But please share if you have any experiences with growing vegetables in the city area, and in a city-like environment. in a suburban environment even. Please share some of your thoughts, some of your experiences. Make a response video or leave comments in the comment section. I'll be interested to see what other things whatever challenges you have faced, and if you've found ways to overcome them. I think they'll be very helpful, not just for me, but for other people who will watch this video. Any gripes, complaints, please send me a PM about this or any other particular subject for that matter. But that's my video. Urban farming challenges. I'm Edward Jones, and thanks for watching.